Hello there, and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. I am your host, Robbie Fox, and today we are here to recap Obi-Wan, Episode 1. We had Episode 1 and 2 premiere last night. It was an early premiere. They actually put them out at midnight Eastern Standard Time because they did a live premiere at Star Wars Celebration. So they were like, let's just get this out. There's going to be a big audience watching it anyway, so we're putting it out early. Episodes 1 and 2 came out. We're recapping just episode 1 right now in this video. Tomorrow, we will put out a video recapping episode 2. Kind of a back-to-back Memorial Day weekend content days. Clem hasn't even seen episode 2 as of this recording.
That's right. I have no idea what the hell is happening. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. It sounds like it's going to be a fun one. I'm not really sure, but I love the midnight release. I was already sleeping at midnight. I saw you text at like 11:30. It's like, guys, there's going to be a midnight release. To me, Jeff D. Lowe and Ken Jack, the nerd herd, basically, if we're being honest, a Barstool. And I hope Filoni, I know you're listening. Feige, if you're listening and Filoni's not, let him know. I know he's probably like number one of your contacts. Keep the midnight releases so us fucking East Coasters and the people at West, still 9 p.m. That's even better for them. I'm still jealous of them. Keep this shit going. But we're back in the basement. Everyone on the YouTube gets to see Bob Fox's shirt straight out of Hot Topic.
Oh, I gotta show them the bottom too. Look at the bottom of the shirt, folks.
Oh,
we've got goodness. Grievous, we've got Sidious, we've got Padme, we've got Yoda. It's such a prequel love shirt. The prequel stan is probably like, oh my god, he's hitting order right now on this hitting order 66 of them. Oh, see what I did there?
Did not see that coming. That was
back around.
That was a way to fucking get the juices flowing right off the top. Holy shit.
I know. Should we get right into spoilers? I mean, should we do quick thoughts before we get into spoilers?
Yes, yeah, let's do quick thoughts before we dive into it. So I've only seen episode 1. Bob's seen both episodes already. My thoughts is, as of right now, very whelmed. I am not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed right now. It's first episode. I'm fine with it. I feel like things are going to dial up. But all things considered, not too high or low right now. That's where I stand after episode 1.
I really liked episode 1. I liked the double episode as a package more, though. I think episode 1 and 2, putting them out together, was actually a really smart move, because if it was just episode 1, I think it was around 40 minutes or something like that. Wasn't the longest episode, and there's a lot of stretches of it where there's like not a lot of dialogue. They're doing those push-in shots of Obi-Wan and whatnot. There's a stretch in the beginning where you don't even see Obi-Wan for the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good, and I thought it flew by. That was my, like, as soon as it ended, I was like, oh my God, it's over already. Like, I want more. And then I had more, which was nice. And I went on and I watched episode 2, which I thought was probably better. I'm going to have to rewatch them because it was midnight brain and I was pretty tired. I was preparing to go to sleep, and then I was going to set an alarm for 3 a.m. Thank God I didn't do that. That would have been a disaster.
Oh, God. The 3 a.m. crew, who didn't even have to be the 3 a.m. crew, God fucking, they're going to turn to the dark side when they find out it was out 3 hours early, right?
I almost turned to the dark side last night when I was scrolling Twitter, and I saw someone from the West Coast say, oh, thank God I don't have to stay up till midnight. What? I was going to wake up I was going to set an alarm next to my girlfriend at 3 in the morning.
Being a nerd's girlfriend is already tough enough. It's just so much harder when you're getting woken up at 3 a.m. so your nerd boyfriend can go watch Star Wars.
I also think the possibility of like me just loving the prequels a lot more than you could be why I like it so much. Like, I'm so like, anything Ewan as Obi-Wan, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he's back. Whereas you might not be as like, you're a little more jaded to that.
Yeah. So the recap in the beginning, I guess we'll kind of get into the episode.
Sick. Yeah, we could get into it now.
So
sick.
It starts with a long time ago, and then there's no Star Wars crawl. You're just like, what the fuck's going on here? They actually made the prequels look interesting. They made the prequels look good. No offense.
I bet Topher Grace cut that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, that was a really good like trilogy right there in 2 minutes flat. But it was a good way to kind of bring you through all the shit that had happened. Now they didn't go through all the stuff that happened in Clone Wars and the books and all that other shit that maybe canon. So you're going to have to watch our Obi-Wan preview where Bob Fox did a tremendous job breaking down a lot of shit that, I had no clue as a casual Star Wars fan. Or no, I'm like a fast casual Star Wars fan. I'm like the Applebee's of Star Wars fans. But then if you're straight up like casual, like a McDonald's fast food Star Wars fan, you have no fucking clue about any of this. The only thing you know about Mandalorians is the Mandalorian shows, whereas there is all this stuff with Obi-Wan. He's dating him or falls in love with a Mandalorian and all this kind of shit. So they didn't go there, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know how much of that's going to impact this or if they're just going to ignore it as if it never happens. Because I guess you could probably tell Obi-Wan's story without dabbling into that. But when Darth Maul inevitably comes, as we announced on that preview episode, which is probably just straight up lying through our teeth. By the way, no one tweeted that out. I said, guys, let's go viral together.
What's going on? We're trying to go viral like Ben Mintz over here.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're not all yeah, exactly. Ben Mintz yelling at the Whistler. Like I know like it's like a pure thing to do. A Jedi would never tweet us, but let's be a little Anakin, a little bit of both. It's kind of the way the Force should work. No Jedi, no Sith. A mix of both is the way it should be in life. So that was kind of my thoughts on it.
Ben Mintz yelling at the Whistler. I need Quiggs to like redo that, put his CGI magic on it, and make it Uncle Owen going to yell at Obi-Wan. You're an absolute disgrace to Mos Eisley. So the whole recap of the prequels, though, I thought was so cool. And then we kind of get like a further recap of the prequels, which I thought was even cooler. Yep. Let's get right into episode 1. So one of the things you could do to get the Basement Boys in on your show the earliest is Order 66. They did it with the Bad Batch. And that was one of the early things that we were like, oh my God, you begin with Order 66. I mean, we're in. Now, Ken Jack did point out to us, it was strange timing for that scene. Unfortunate timing.
Extremely. And I mean, my brain kind of went there first. And I mean, we've always had fun with that scene in the past, but it was just we'll just leave it at that.
Well, a lot of kids are in this scene, and I think that's playing up something in the future. Do you think one of these kids is maybe Reva as a Padawan?
Oh, okay.
My mind went straight there. Obviously, spoilers. At this point, spoilers for the whole episode 1. Episode 2, we won't talk about in this episode, though. I think Reva has a vengeance against Obi-Wan because he didn't come back to save her on the Jedi Temple.
That would be a good ass twist right there. And it kind of lines up. Wow, Bob Fox, our first good theory of the season, and that's just started.
I've seen episode 2, but that's not like clarified or anything. In episode 2, that's like straight. That was the first thing I wrote down. I said, "Is that Reva as a Padawan?" And then we get into building to Obi-Wan's first appearance. They really like show us the Inquisitors. They show us Mos Eisley. Or was that Mos Eisley? It was one of the Tatooine cities.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to. I figure everything's Mos Eisley at this point. Even Mos Espa is just like it's like Tribeca of Mos Eisley. It's just a little neighborhood of it. Like at this point, we're just going to keep going to Tatooine. We're going to keep going to Mos Eisley, whatever. Mama named him Mos Eisley. I'm going to call him Mos Eisley. That's just how it feels. Also, hearing the Emperor say, execute Order 66. Again, goosebumps just thinking about. I could have lived with another 10 minutes of just seeing the entire Jedi Temple, and I would have liked it actually more if there was more of they just outnumbered them and overwhelmed them. I would have liked to have seen more of the strategy that went into getting rid of the Jedi, because I don't think we're going to be going back there again. Do you?
No, probably not, because you can't go back there in a flashback because Obi-Wan wasn't there.
By the way,
unless it is a flashback to Reva.
Yeah. That's fair.
What were you going to say, by the way?
No, the flash benta where we had Obi-Wan in his bed later on, and I'm like, are we doing fucking flashbacks at the flashback thing? I
love the way they did that, though. Remember I said in the prequel or in the preview episode, I was like, I would love to see him haunted by all that stuff. He was literally tossing and turning, and they were showing those flashes of the prequels. I hate you. All that stuff. That was fucking awesome. Also, Star Wars Celebration was this weekend, and it is this weekend, this upcoming weekend and everything. Hayden Christensen being embraced like he is the coolest thing in the world. When he gets on stage, some guy yells, "We missed you, Hayden." And he's like, "I missed you too." The place erupts. And then they're like, "Hayden, anything you have to say to the fans, before Obi-Wan starts, your final words, we're about to get into the premiere." And he just grabs him and goes, "This is where the fun begins." And the whole place again, like wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men.
I don't want to break your heart, Bob. I'm telling you, that guy was a plant. He like that was way too like he served that up way too nice for him. But like for everyone that says Star Wars are like the most miserable fans and they always criticize, they also are like the most forgiving fans ever, because that reaction you would have never thought would have been possible as someone that lived
After
through
he got like the Steve Bartman treatment.
Exactly. I mean, fucking Jake Lloyd, didn't he like quit acting after it?
Yeah, so, and then he got into like a pod racing accident or something.
Oh, DUI. Jesus Christ. So like that's all you need to know. Then again, though, like we always say, you throw fucking Duel of the Fates, which I think is probably the best part of the prequels. They had a fucking full choir out singing it. You're just gonna get people stoked up no matter what. And let's be honest, we went to Celebration. Anybody that's going to Celebration, 99% of the people at Celebration say are like people like Bob who are crying during the reveals of the trailers and stuff like that. The other 1% is like me and like people who are the girlfriends of the people that are going to cry at the movie theaters.
Yes, and maybe like the people at the exhibits themselves, like the actors.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember we saw Paul Bettany, or no, was that me and Ken Jack? That was in Chicago, I think. We saw Paul Bettany because he had the role in Solo. He had the shortest line. We were like, that's the fucking Vision. What the fuck's going on over here? But we couldn't buy like the VIP at the time. It was too late.
Little did Ken Jack know Paul Bettany was going to become like his mortal enemy for fucking twisting his words out. That was fucked up.
All right, so we see Order 66. I said, is that Reva as a Padawan? In my notes, I did a whole note sheet for this episode as well. I mentioned that to Clem. And we do a big build to Obi-Wan's first appearance. I said it's like 5 minutes in. We don't see Obi-Wan because we go to the Inquisitors first, and they're hunting a Jedi on Tatooine. The Grand Inquisitor comes out with the third sister, Reva, and says, we've heard rumors, rumors always get out, basically, and there's a rumor of a Jedi here. Eventually, the Jedi gives himself up. It is Benny Sadfi, I think. That's like one of the brothers that made Uncut Gems. He's also in Good Time. He's like Robert Pattinson's co-star. That's the role that I think basically got Robert Pattinson the Batman job, Matt Reeves said. So I thought that was cool. I was very worried about Old Ben. I said, does this motherfucker know about Old Ben? That was one of my first notes. Thankfully, the other Jedi kind of like let him askew.
Thank God you told me, like we did the preview show, you told me about the Inquisitors, because I would have thought that was Darth Vader without his helmet until basically they called him Grand Inquisitor. And even then I'd be like, oh, that's just his kind of like that's Grand Inquisitor is like 3 levels below like Lord Vader. Like he lost the Lord after he got fucking split in half by Obi-Wan and he has to work his way back up to it. So again, I would have had no fucking clue about it.
He did have the like white head, and people are pissed about the character design of this guy. They want his head to be longer. They want him to look like the guy from Utapau in Revenge of the Sith. I get it. I would agree that guy in Revenge of the Sith looked a lot better, but I thought he looked a lot better in the show, the Grand Inquisitor, that is, than he did in the trailers and stuff, especially when he had the yellow eyes, the Sith eyes glowing. I was like, oh, no, this guy's intimidating. He's not just an egghead.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful with, I guess it's kind of a lost movie now for maybe the younger generation, but you don't want to look too much like a Conehead. For people like me, I'm just going to see Coneheads. Yeah. I'm going to see Dan Aykroyd instead of supposedly like.
I used that as a roast against some guy the other day. Like some guy tweeted me something mean, and I was just like, you look like a Conehead.
Oh, geez, Bob Fox.
Yeah.
Bob's dabbling with the dark side a lot these days. I saw you.
I know that was in the Darkhold.
I think you like threatened to kill Eddie if I moved to Chicago. So like,
I said I would turn to the dark side.
Yeah, okay.
So that might eventually happen if I turn to the dark side. You can't predict dark side people, but
dark side Bob. I mean, like right now the hair, it's kind of flowing. It's like, but like dark side Bob, you just let the hair go Kylo Ren style. I can kind of see it now. Shit, I don't want to turn you to the dark side. Now I'm more worried about that than like uprooting my kids from their family and friends. I don't want to turn Bob fucking Sith. Octagon Bob with the dark side on his side. Good luck.
Darth, what would my like Darth name be? Darth Octagonus? That's not bad. All right, so that we see Obi-Wan for the first time, and he's a butcher. He's like taking a job, basically a butcher. He works like under I assume a crate dragon's spine. Like a piece of the spine kind of provides shade on Tatooine. And he's just chopping up meat into perfect squares with a bunch of other people. And he chops off a little tiny piece for himself every day, it seems. Like probably like, I don't know, 2-3 ounces, if that. Not a lot.
Obi-Wan ain't eating good these days, and I'm kind of getting worried. I don't know what kind of meat that is either. I'm always gonna say bantha meat because I like when you don't know anything in Tatooine.
Yeah,
I just
probably.
assume bantha. Uh,
It kind of looked like it could be like a steak.
yeah, and I was also trying to wonder because I don't think anyone else you see like I don't think everyone gets like a ration on their way out. Is he using like the Jedi mind trick to kind of like cloud everyone to not see him because he's just straight up stealing from his job?
He does, yeah. He's not very secretive. He just puts it in
Yeah.
his little thing and walks out. Yeah.
So I
I
feel
think
like
it's enough. It's like a little enough that he's like, he probably does some kind of trick with the meat where it's like, you ever see the chocolate bar where they cut it sideways and then they like move
Yeah.
the piece and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? He probably does one of those.
Obi-Wan ain't no fool. I also got like big, I don't know why it was because I know he does like rocks and stuff, but it was like Fred Flintstone when he's at his job, you know what I mean? And he's
Yeah.
just banging the rocks. Like he's just clocking in, clocking out. The one, so you're just knowing that these guys are kind of scumbags of guys. Like that's half the credits I was owed. And then there's just the straight up supervisor who probably has never supervised in his life, but he just will be like, I'm going to pound your face in if you say anything.
He's the worst. I wrote it right away. I hope an Inquisitor cuts his boss's head off. He
Oh,
a big bearded guy. He looked like he hadn't showered in weeks. He kind of like a pirate or something. And yeah, he was just an absolute dick to Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan just took it. And I was like, damn, that's like Obi-Wan's he is kind of like broken if he's just taking that shit. Look at him in the cantina. He didn't take no shit there. Chopped an arm off.
Old Ben fucking
In the cantina and in Attack of the Clones, chopped an arm off.
Yeah.
In a bar.
So now I'm kind of excited to see this guy. So this is the first guy that I'm hoping gets killed in the show. He's like basically like the dickhead bouncer. That might have been the guy that tore up my ID when I was back in college. Fuck that guy.
This is the mayor's major domo of Obi-Wan for me. I'm like, fuck this guy. Every time I see his face, I'm gonna be like, fuck this guy. There's actually another person like that in this episode too. I'll point out later, a little tease for later on. And I wrote right away, that's got to be the John Williams theme as he goes to his cave, which he's living in a cave. Why is he living in a cave? When did he get his house? You know, was he just 10 years in a cave? I don't know. We're going to find that out, I guess. But I thought the John Williams theme sounded really cool. It was sounded like a mix of the Force theme and then like its own thing.
Yeah. And like you said, the music is going to be.
The music was awesome. Yeah. I think it's the girl that did Loki, Natalie Holt.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think.
So that's something I like forgot about going into. I was like, oh, we have like Star Wars budget for Star Wars music. We're going to have some good shit, I imagine, throughout this series. And we were saying, how does Obi-Wan get so old looking and ragged by the time Luke's of age, you know, to start training? Living in a cave in a fucking desert is going to do that to you. I think we also had said like he probably had like a bunch of porn in his cave at one point. We like basically like bonked the shit out of Obi-Wan for no good reason.
We
but
did.
Creepy old Ben, I guess you kind of have to be the creep guy or living in a cave by yourself. But that cave, all I could think of is he must just be so fucking mad at Anakin this entire time. He's like, I'm working in a fucking meat packing plant or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm living in the middle of the desert, have to like watch some kid from afar whose his two adopted parents fucking despise me. And he like that shit he's doing where he's like the stuff he's eating where he like puts like water on it and it just looks
reminded me of like Rey. Remember when in Force Awakens she puts like the powder in and a muffin forms?
Yep, except his shit just looked like grimy as fuck. So it may not be the worst as thinking your best friend was hooking up and then murdered your pregnant wife, which is what Anakin thinks right now. But I have to say, Obi-Wan's probably not too happy either.
No, definitely not. And he has to deal with the Jawas like he deals with in the next scene with Tika, who basically stole his parts and is selling them back. And Tika has a funny line where he's like, listen, if you're going to steal my parts and just sell them back to me, at least clean them. And Tika was just like, cleaning costs extra, like in his little Jawa language. And that popped me. That cracked me up.
I liked we got a sassy Jawa coming from him. And we usually don't get subtitles for what the Jawa is saying, right?
I think we got some of them in Mando because I remember when they said the egg.
Oh yeah, that's right. And oh god, I hope this Jawa doesn't talk about fucking that chick.
Oh, I forgot.
Like,
oh my god, I forgot we talked so much about Jawa sex lives. There
was a lot of Jawa sex talk looking back in Mando. You know, I'm always concerned about my kids like reading something I said or hearing something I said on a podcast. And I'm always thinking more like pod fathers, which is back, by the way, these fuckers, the third floor empire. That's what I'm calling them now. The third floor empire.
Oh,
they're trying to just eliminate all those good guys on the second floor one by one until there's only like 3 or 4 of us
dreadnought up there.
Yeah. So subscribe to the podcast, click subscribe on YouTube, the podcast, thumbs up, 5-star reviews, all that stuff.
Someone make a meme of Boba Fett reaching back through the sand and Podfather's like the Sarlacc ate them, but they're back.
But they're back for more, baby. But it turns out like the amount, if my kids are like, oh, Dad, recap The Mandalorian with Uncle Robbie one day. Let's hear drama. And it's like, Utini! And they're just busting and shit like that. Oh, goodness gracious me, oh my. But yeah, the egg, that is a thing that was said. And I don't know, man. I'm becoming more and more a Jawa fan as these series keep giving me Jawa. If we're gonna just be in Tatooine every fucking year, you might as well just lean into it and make us fall in love with the entire we like Sand people now, always like Jawas.
Not always. When they first steal R2 in the first season,
that's true. That's true.
Not always. But now I did like this Jawa. I liked Obi-Wan's like back and forth with him. It was a nice, like, this is probably one of the only people Obi-Wan actually does have a back and forth with and talks to, because it's like, what, this Jawa's going to know he's a Jedi? Like, obviously not.
Dude, I worked at my dad's pool store for a year. I mean, I worked there every summer growing up and then even afterwards. And you would get the customer that came in that you could tell just like kind of just lives on their own, doesn't talk to a lot of, and they would just talk to you for like an hour. I'm like, dude, you just need a gallon of shock. Please just go home. But I'd be nice. I'd be friendly and talk to him. And that's probably what this fucking Jawa has. Every time it's like, I got to visit old Ben. This guy's going to talk my goddamn ear off because he's like, he doesn't talk to anyone probably other than like the dickhead bouncer at his job. And then the Jawa that's stealing parts off of him. And he's like, what are you going to do? I'm going to steal all your shit, sell it back to you, not even clean it. And you're still going to fucking, because I'm the only contact you have to the outside world. So shout out Tiki, which I was thinking, is that a Taika reference at first? I'm fucking Tiki Lander.
It could be, I guess. He has the prequel Nightmare overnight at this point, and I thought that was awesome the way they handled it. It was even the Padme was like the first thing you hear, I think. And it was like, oh shit, Natalie Portman, we're going back to. I'm still holding out hope for a Nightmare where you see like them in Clone Wars era, or you see them with Ahsoka back in the day or something. That would be fucking awesome.
Do you think we're gonna get? Do you think it's be a flash beta? Do you think it's gonna be a flash beta where he's gonna have nightmares? Yeah. I would be all right with. I'm all right going back with the flashbacks. I do have to say, and I don't think the people at Obi-Wan probably knew it when they were filming. It's gonna feel like the Boba Fett stuff again. It's just going to.
Well, you got to do them like this. I think
fucking planet too. We're not.
I don't think you could do full flashback scenes. I think you got to do flashes, literally just flashes, like you did here. Like if you do not Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett was like half flashbacks, especially in the beginning. I think you got to just do like 30 seconds max.
I would love it if he still has like he has the dream of Jango Fett's ship leaving the planet too. Like he has the same flashback that Boba has. Like just stop fucking with us, Star Wars. You're just fucking with us at this point.
Just like the same exact CGI too. They just changed the color of his hair from black to brown.
Yep, exactly.
And then he fucking reaches out to Qui-Gon, which immediately I thought revealed to me that Qui-Gon is going to at some point be in this series, because you don't put that in episode 1. That's going to be a character arc for Obi-Wan. He's going to get to the point where he can communicate with his former master. I'm surprised it is Chekhov's Qui-Gon. Chekhov's Jin or something.
And by the way, you say his name wrong. I say the Emperor's name wrong. You call him Qui-Gon. It sounds like you say Guan.
Qui-Gon?
There you go. Now you said it right.
Oh, I kind of do say Qui-Gon.
Wrong. Yeah, you do.
I do. I've been saying it like that my whole life, I think.
You have, and you said it last episode too, and I didn't say it, and but I have to call you out just because I can't say the Emperor's name. Hence why I'm not saying his last name right now, because I'm a goddamn idiot. But you know what, Bob?
That just blew my mind. That's like Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, and this is like you've probably been saying it since you were in the movie theater. You were probably 1 year old watching it with your brother, and you're like, Qui-Gon.
That's probably why I probably couldn't pronounce it at the time, and then I just kept along the same track.
Yeah, it's like AJ when he can't say like his like T's and he says an F. It's like, you know, little kids have like the little kid accent. You've had the little kid Qui-Gon accent. So don't you change it, actually. I got yelled at because I say Max Scherzer and it's Scherzer, but I've always just had a thing. I call him Scherzer, and I got roasted by all the Mets fans. But I kind of I like little Bob. That's like our little glimpse to little Bob Fox, you know, the prequel fan from day one. I kind of like Qui-Gon. So I wish I never brought it up now. I also don't want to bring this up. But I have to I'm going to do it. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. When we go back and he's like, you have to train Anakin. He's going to bring balance to the Force. Like, at that point, I feel like the Force was in a pretty good place on towards the light side, right? There was the Jedi Temple, the Jedi were thriving. New fucking theory live on my mom's basement. Darth Qui-Gon.
New theory alert.
Darth Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Yes, Darth Qui-Gon. Even better, we're gonna call him Darth Qui-Gon. He wanted to bring balance to the Force, to the dark side of the Force, and that's why you gotta train Anakin, power him up, and fucking. Hey, Bob, he was telling the truth from a certain point of view. How do you like me using Obi-Wan?
Don't you use that? Don't you use his words there? I don't like that.
Either give me Darth Jar Jar, or I'm spreading the Darth Qui-Gon propaganda fucking all over the place. I'll be
he's holding them hostage.
Yeah, I'm holding him hostage. And I'm even going to pronounce his name Bob Fox style to really fucking get in his head.
Maybe that's his Sith name. It's like that's his real name. He just much like Obi-Wan just decided to go by Ben Kenobi and thought that would hide his identity. Like he just kept the last. He's like, nah, the last name I got too much attachment to that. Like
just throw a U.
Is that going to be explained in this series?
Do you want it to be explained in the series? I guess is the question. Do you think they could do a good job explaining it?
I think the explanation should almost be that I don't know if this makes sense, but everyone just called him Ben and nobody really knew a last name, but Uncle Owen slipped at some point or something in front of Luke, and that's how Luke knew it.
Okay. I could get down with that. That would be good.
But if that's the case, like we don't need a scene of that explaining that.
Or like Uncle Owen's talking to Brew. It's like that fucking cocksucker Obi-Wan in like the kitchen or something like that. Because kids are always just popping in and out. You never know where they are.
I don't know how to feel about like Luke yet. Like, do I want to see a kid Luke in the same way we see a kid later on in this episode? Or do I want Luke to just stay like from afar? Like we kind of see him like Obi-Wan sees him, because they shouldn't have like a relationship before A New Hope.
Exactly. And I guess at that age, the age he is, he could, I guess, forget him, even if it's especially if it's like a glancing encounter. But at the same point, it does feel like you're kind of taking away from that first moment from A New Hope. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how they wrote that. I hope, again, kind of like with Feige and Marvel, I always feel like Filoni and Favreau, like they appreciate the trilogy, the original trilogy more than anything. They want to maintain. I think they're like, we could kind of, fuck with the prequel or the sequel trilogies because there's a good amount of people who fucking despise them. But everyone kind of is like, the only reason that we're probably watching this show right now is because the original trilogy was so fucking good. It has sustained the test of time, the test of bad movies, the test of a whole lot of shit, right? So I hope. Also, this is completely off the beaten path. That antlered rat was fucking awesome. I love the antlered rat. It
reminded me of in Dune. There's a quick scene where there's a rat and it has like moisture coming from the ears and it like drinks that because it's the only moisture it could get on the planet. And that's exactly what it reminded me of, like in a good way.
Good call. By the way, I watched Dune. People probably watch Dune in IMAX. I'm sure Jeff D. Lowe just watched it in IMAX 1,000 times in a row with like 5D technology. It's not even been invented yet. I watched it on a cross-country flight to LA on an airplane on a little like 1 foot by 1 foot screen in front of me.
Still a good movie.
Still a good movie. I was a fan. It was something I never had time for. And then when I was flying across country, the iPad died and I was like, let's fucking watch Dune, man. Let's get into it.
So he sees Luke. This is the scene that we've seen in the trailer, just a more extended version of it where they think like Luke ran away for a second. And he's really just climbing on top of the hut to do his fake piloting. And he wants to be a pilot, obviously. So I like that they established that early. It's like something he's wanted to do his whole life. And as Obi-Wan leaves, he puts a little toy on the doorstep that's what he got from the Jawa. Puts toy on the doorstep for Luke. Kind of like a cool uncle move. I had like a cool uncle who would always like leave a Christmas present on the door, Christmas Eve or something. And
Bob, no. You don't have a cool uncle. You have the coolest uncle ever fucking created. Is this the same uncle? Is this Uncle Awesome?
Uncle Awesome has, I believe he has, but he usually comes over and like he'll be there. Like, I've talked about Uncle Awesome's like Christmas plan. Like he's got a bunch of nieces and nephews, so like there's like a rotation. Like someone gets a big present every couple of years. And the last time I got a big present, it was Xbox One. Actually, not even. After that, I got the Funko Pop right here.
Yeah, a fucking self. He made a Funko Pop of his nephew. It's the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen. Oh, God, that's so fucking cool. And
look at the back even.
Yeah, there was different versions of him, and it even had the Barstool. I mean, everyone, yeah, if you're not on the YouTube, you got to go on the YouTube and check this out. It is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Jabba Clem not included with the slave Leia, Jabba's slave, Bob Fox. And that's when, I mean, I was already in love with the man blindly.
And instead of Funko, look at the brand name.
Fukin. Oh, wow.
I mean, he thinks of everything. He's the best.
He's the man. So it's not that uncle we're talking about. Like, yeah, if Obi-Wan was Uncle Awesome Ben, like he would have given Luke like an actual space fighter. Like, hey,
oh my God, yeah. And I even wrote down like later on, like Obi-Wan wasn't allowed to be the fun uncle. Like Owen's just not let him be the fun uncle. That gets to drop off toys and everything, be the cool guy. The handheld shots of Obi-Wan on the Eopie, I think it's called, like the camel-like creature. Yep. When it's like approaching and you're like, what is this? This is Tusken Raiders. This is Jawa about to approach him. No, it's the Jedi from before. And he knows this is Obi-Wan. And he's like, oh my God, Obi-Wan. Like I've searched far and wide. Like you need to help us where the fight is going on. You haven't given up, have you? And he's like, no, I haven't given up. The fight's over. We lost. And he's a broken guy. He reminded me of Luke in The Last Jedi, to be honest, where he's just like, get away from me, dude. Like I'm not interested. And eventually he talks him into like getting off the EOP, and he's like, listen, just run, bury your lightsaber in the sand as far as you can and get out of here. Like, I'm not interested.
The Jedi are a bunch of fucking quitters is what they are. I hate to say it. They're a bunch of fucking quitters, and they're always looking for someone to save the day. They are the Frank the Tanks of fucking space religions. Like, oh my God, the Mets are going to lose 25 in a row and they're not going to score a run. It's like, dude, fucking give me some fight here. This is the reason why the Emperor reigned, is because you got a bunch of fucking pussies talking about burying your like murder weapon in the middle of the desert. Fuck out of here. I'm telling you, going back to just some of the shit from the prequels with the Jedi, and then right into this fucking little pussy ass Obi-Wan who's just getting bitched by some bouncer beef guy boss he has. Bouncer boss? I don't know. I'm just
Triple B.
Yeah, Triple B, baby. I'm just so out on the Jedi right now. It's like I kind of want to start like the middle religion of these two, which I thought was going to be the big thing at the end. The Gray Skywalker was the Gray Jedi, which was not the case at the end of Skywalker, as we know. I don't know, man. These guys are just pussies. I'm just so sick of their shit. We'll see. We'll see what the next
Luke realized in The Last Jedi. That's part of the thing I love so much about The Last Jedi. He has that conversation with Rey, where it's like, the Jedi are failures. Like, how do you not see that? Why do you want to restart the Jedi religion? Like, look at everyone that came before. They failed, and then they did what I did. Like, what are you talking about? And I love that. They pointed that out.
I would have loved if Luke was even like, oh, Yoda's so cute. He's a fucking fraud. He stinks. And I trained his like little baby Yoda. He stunk too.
He didn't even want my training. He turned it down.
For some dude in a mask, some fucking pussy with armor on.
I taught him everything he knew anyway. Just the most bitter Luke they possibly could have turned into.
I kind of like, well, I mean, if Luke had said that, it would have been kind of like with young Luke, where he is riding on top and it's like, that's his dad. I kind of see like Jake Lloyd with the goggles on, right? And he's kind of pod racing. That's the version of that.
So then we get, speaking of the dad, his daughter, Princess Leia. Well, not yet. We get what looks like Princess Leia, and you're like, oh shit, is this about to be kid Princess Leia? Looks like Alderaan, and Alderaan looks beautiful, by the way, which just makes it a little more heartbreaking now when we see it get destroyed, and that dumbass pilot is like, did you lose anyone on Alderaan and all that? Like, Alderaan is a beautiful planet. It looks like a futuristic utopia, basically, like the riches of all riches in Alderaan. And it's not Princess Leia. She basically told her friend, like, hey, can you step in while I'm going into the woods, basically, and discovering stuff with my little droid Lola? Awesome droid, awesome name for a droid as well. And the friend stepped in.
Shout out my niece Lola. I've been
really?
Lola, yep. So like I was kind of like, whoa, got that on the screen.
I think that's a cool little droid. It's like a little. It looks like a Discman.
I was thinking it's like there's like little drones that like my kids can get. My kids got one for their birthday. You just throw it in the air and it kind of just starts flying on its own, and it doesn't go too high or anything. And it's very protected. You can't get your fingers in there like Hank and, chop a digit off or anything like that. But it'll just kind of just fly around and they'll just like run around and chase it. And it was the same kind of vibes. And again, it was perfect the way that all lined up. Podcast magic right there, folks. Luke, just like his dad, wants to be a fighter pilot. Leia, just like her mom, body doubles and running around a lush planet, just enjoying nature. It was fucking like watching a young Anakin, young Padme all over again.
You know what it is, Clem? You know what it is?
It's like poetry. Good work, Bob.
It's just like poetry because it rhymes. I did love that. I also have seen a lot of mixed feelings about young Leia. I've seen people say, oh my God, I don't want any more young friggin' kids in Star Wars shows. Get them out of this. I thought young Leia did a really good job in this show. Like how she was sassy, how she snapped back. Like you said, how she had the body double, went into the woods. Like I enjoyed young Leia and all of her interactions. So I can't agree. There was the one scene, she gets into a little chase scene later on where it's like 3-on-1 chase scene. That was my one, like, ooh, okay, you could have done that a lot better.
Thank God you said that, Bob. I was really terrified that we were going to go in and we were going to disagree on that.
No.
This is my exact we'll get into that later, the chase scene. Chase scene, yikes. It felt like it was a bad 90s. I'm thinking like Blank Check when like the goons are chasing the kid. Except this kid, I have someone that's like Leia's age. I think Sienna's probably even older than this Leia. Kids are not that fucking fast. And those fucking idiots could get her. And unless like if she had maybe been like, I know the terrain, so she was like, you know, bobbing and weaving, that was just like I cringed during that. I hate saying cringe. That was a really, really tough scene. And it felt almost like, and this is like kind of the gold standard these days of bad Star Wars scenes, the car scene from Boba Fett, where it's like that left a bad taste in my mouth that has not gotten out because I haven't seen the second episode yet. But I personally liked little kid Leia. When she was like fighting with her cousin, that seemed a little too mature for her age, where she's just putting some of this stuff together. But I mean, there are kids that can get like
the Force.
Yeah, that's true too.
Always mix that in, maybe extracting information, whatnot.
And I like that Mrs. Organa. When she was like, but she ended up saying to the body double, she's like, if you're good, we'll give you melons afterwards. Like that is parenting 101 right there. I have been holding like anytime you have anything on the calendar, like AJ had a birthday party last Sunday. Anytime he didn't listen to us, well, you're not going to that birthday party. If you want to go to the birthday party, you better brush your teeth. If you want to go to the birthday party, turn off the TV. If you want to, and so I just kind of like that. That was something I saw through the eyes of a parent. That is, I'll tell you, watching the old Star Wars, if I had watched them as a parent the first time, there is some pretty crazy shit that goes on with these families and these crazy space families.
Yeah, and I loved the line from Leia's mom where she says to Leia, like, "Oh, if you'd paid as much attention to this as you do running into the woods, like you'd be a senator already." She basically says.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a great line." Like to the young senators and Phantom Menace and whatnot, which the mindset behind that electing kids was like they're so pure of mind that they couldn't be corrupted by the tragedies of politics. Which it's a decent thought. Like it's decent when you say it out loud. You definitely can't like enact it.
No, because then you'd be like instead of getting bribed by lobbyists for money, they'd be getting bribed for candy and shit like that. So there is a flaw in that. However, like if you want to know how you really are to the world, just ask a kid and they will give you the most honest opinion no matter how deep it cuts you. So there is someone to be said for that for sure.
Then we see Uncle Owen refusing to let Obi-Wan be the good uncle. He gives him back the toy. He cuts him deep with that line. It's the second worst burn of Uncle Owen's life, as some have said.
Oh!
Yeah, that's not my joke. I can't take credit. There was a bunch of people, like 1,000 people in my replies said that when I tweeted the little clip of it.
I'm going to fucking break the Italian Clem out. Marron. That
is. And the Inquisitors come back. There's the one Inquisitor who has like the almost Constable Zuvio hat. And then there's the third sister. And the third sister's fucking unhinged, looking for Kenobi under the guise of looking for this other Jedi. And they're all like, I feel like you're looking for Kenobi. And she's like, no, I'm definitely not looking for Kenobi. And the whole time it's like, you're definitely looking for Kenobi. She fucking chops a hand off. She's the bad cop in all of this. Like she will shoot first, ask questions later, chop a hand off, ask questions later. She's got the red Inquisitor saber. They've all got the cool, handles on them. And we cut back to Alderaan. She also interrogates Owen in that scene. Pretty tense interrogation scene. But, you know the fate of Owen. So you're like, all right, he'll get out of this somehow.
And I like that he said, I didn't do it for you, too, with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I feel like has been said in a movie before. I'm trying to think of where it's from, where he's like, I didn't do that for you. I did it. And clearly, if he knows where Obi-Wan is, then they're going to be like, all right, now let's see about your family. Oh, who's this fucking kid right here?
Why are you on Tatooine? Like,
Yeah.
why are you on Anakin's home planet? That's weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's like, "There's like, that's not your kid, Owen. This chick wouldn't have sex with you, you fucking creep." But I can't believe he brought that out episode 1, man. That zinger coming out like first episode, that hurt me to my soul. I did the Yoda where he's just like,
where he feels
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see like a party type gala event on Alderaan. This is what Leia was like getting dressed up to go to in the first place. We see C-3PO is there, which
that is him, right?
Little, yeah, it is. It was on the closed caption. It said C-3PO. It was nice how subtle that was. Like, people criticized the Rogue One cameo for being like, we just cut to C-3PO and R2-D2 in the middle of the movie, and they're like, oh, gee willikers, like, this is crazy, ain't it? Rogue One. This one was much more subtle. He's just kind of in the background. I don't even think he might have like a quick line, but it's mixed in with party talk. Like, you can't really hear it.
I didn't turn on closed captions. I tried to be a young kid again, and I missed out on something good. So lesson learned: go with the closed captions because it paints the whole picture for you.
And then here's my next 4 notes, just in a row. I said, "Fuck Leia's bitch ass cousin," and then I said, "Young Leia rules," and then I said, "Jimmy Smits rules." Love seeing Jimmy Smits back as Bail Organa. And then my next one was, holy shit, Flea is going to kill Princess Leia. what a Flea. What in the world? We knew he's going to have a cameo, but like, I didn't think it was this. This is a role. This isn't just a cameo.
And you know what? That's why I felt like a 90s movie too, because that's something Flea would have been in. He would have been in like 3 Ninjas. Was he in 3 Ninjas? Oh my God.
I don't know. He's been in Back to the Future, right? He's been in like a couple, Big Lebowski, a couple great cameo roles.
He was in The Chase, right, with Charlie Sheen. I think he was in The Chase.
Maybe, yeah.
Sheen, which, I mean, anyone that saw The Chase, yeah, he was in The Chase back in the day, and that is a Chase movie. Fuck, what's the name of the girl?
Ponytail in the back.
Oh boy, I'm crazy. About to too. What's her name in The Chase? Christy Swanson. Oh my God, and they're having sex as like the sun is setting in the background. What an outrageous movie. The 90s were a different fucking planet. So this kind of makes sense where he plays that role. He's scary, but he also does feel like it's like, fuck, that's Flea. Like, that's all I could think of when I was watching it, right?
He's pretty good too. Like, he's not a bad actor.
Yeah, no, he's definitely plays the role of like that henchman. He almost like the perfect henchman or the perfect head of the henchman, where his henchman can't catch a fucking 5-year-old running through the woods.
Yes.
With that cousin, Leia putting him in her pocket was one of my favorite things, just because everyone knew that kid who's such like a fucking asshole. And like, honestly, everything she says is what like you tell your kid to say to a bully, and she just fucking breaks it down for him like that, and he has nothing to say. I'm trying to think of the right way to word this. I hope that cousin grows up, very happy, marries, and hope he just I hope he settles on Alderaan. That's all I'm going to say. I hope that cousin settles on Alderaan.
That's one of the meanest things you could say. I didn't even see where that was going. I agree, though. Fucking you called Leia not a real Organa. That's like a crazy mean thing to say to your cousin.
Yeah.
If you had an adopted cousin, you're like, you're not a real part of this family. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. People say it to like their brothers and sisters, even if they are blood related, to say it's someone that isn't, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So again, that guy, it's him and the fucking bouncer guy.
Those are the two.
Do you think that cousin becomes someone else, like obviously in the Empire down the road? Because he seems like a real, just mean, evil person into his core. And I could see them growing on that, because I feel like he has the look of someone that's going to have more of a role in this as we go along. But that's just a guess. Not nearly as good as your guess of the third sister being in the Jedi Temple, which, by the way, the meanest fucking Inquisitor of all time. Like you said, the chopping the hand off. I know it's a Star Wars thing, but what the fuck was that? And
I liked that it looked like a real prosthetic hand too.
Yeah,
when it dropped. I was like, oh, that's like fucking A New Hope.
How fucking badass is the chick too? She wasn't. I would have been like, oh, just screaming the entire time.
Silent.
She just took it. She took a fucking hand chop. Like
I guess I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Bail Organa sends a transmission to Obi-Wan, basically like they FaceTime, but it's like help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Like, Princess Leia's been kidnapped. You got to kind of help this kid too. Like, you're helping Luke, I get it, but come on. He's like, no, the boy is my priority. I'm not interested. I'm sorry, Bail. And I was like, damn. Like, he's that broken. He can't help a kidnapped child, Princess Leia.
Because he's a pussy Jedi and they all stink. Jedi stink. Jedi are fucking real tough and strong and fucking mighty when they have the numbers on you. But once the fucking cards are down just a little, or they basically went to extinction or whatever, they fold like a house of cards, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah. And then he goes into town and he sees the Jedi that he refused to help has been hung. He's dead. And that's like, fucking, oh shit, I wrote Arky, my dog, Benny Sadfi. That's just tough. It was a cool little side Jedi. I'm sure now in the continuity, in the comics and the cartoons, he's going to get a backstory that goes back 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. The hanging in Star Wars always seems extra, like the old school way to kill somebody always seems extra brutal in Star Wars, where it's like, just use the laser blaster or something like that to use something so crude.
Well, that's pretty uncivilized.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, there we go. But at the same point, like, I don't feel bad for when like you're like, all right, there's one Jedi here. He told me to like fucking bury my shit and get the fuck out of town. If you know people after you, you're not getting out of town. What the hell is your problem? And I have to also say this: I do not think I am going to like the Inquisitors. I always, I sometimes skew a little towards the villain side because I see where their point, or I think they're cool looking. I have to say though, throwing that knife at the dude's head just to see who would use the Force, like they say, the secret to hunting Jedi is patience. Great line. These Jedi, like they'll reveal themselves.
Yeah, like they basically trap themselves or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess to Obi-Wan's credit, he's doing everything in his power to not do that. Like Obi-Wan, if Uncle Owen got fucking murked in the middle of the street, he wouldn't have even batted an eyelash. He was ready to let Uncle Owen just fucking take that lightsaber to the fucking throat.
Ready to actually slip in as Luke's dad and start training him immediately.
He's like, Brew, come to the bedroom. I've had 10 years in a cave. I got to fucking get out of here.
he fucking, instead of like walking out to the middle of the desert to get his sabers, he's like hitting the elope like it's a racehorse to get out there.
Brew, your new daddy's home.
Obi-Wan goes back to the cave and he sees a hooded figure in the cave. And it's like, oh shit, who is this? It's Bail Organa. He's come to the planet to be like, dude, what the fuck? I FaceTimed you and said, come help my daughter. And you said, no. Like, what are you talking? We fought in a war together. Like, come help my daughter. I wrote just all caps, help Bail, Obi-Wan. What the fuck? You got to help Bail. He's a desperate man. He's a man that we all love, Bail Organa. Great guy. It's like, what the fuck? You're still, he's like, I'm not that guy. You're still that guy. We know you're from A New Hope. You're still that guy. You got to get back to that point. So he finally decides, I'm going to help him. We go back to Flea, kind of tormenting Leia. Leia's trying to escape using her droid, Lola. And I wrote, when he goes out to the desert, how did he remember exactly where he buried those sabers? Is that the Force?
That's a great question. That has to be a Force. You can
saber calls to him.
Yeah, you can convince me that the tie between a Jedi and their lightsaber is like Force related, instead of Walter White like having the numbers down for the exact measurement of like barrels or whatever. So I didn't get mad at that because 10 years or however
having
long
the two sabers was like, ooh,
I was gonna say
heavy.
Did that give you the tingles on that one?
It did.
I feel like that gave a lot of
yeah.
I was thinking it was going to.
He picked that up on Mustafar and walked away with it and put it in that box. Like shit.
And we know where that ends up down the road, right? So
on my fucking arm.
Your fucking arm, held by the guy who ended up taking it, right? As fucking crazy as that is. But yeah, the guy's name is Bail. Right? That's the fucking Jedi like motto. Just a bail. As soon as shit goes wrong, hit the ejector button. You gotta fucking
bail on bail. Come on.
And like you said, if someone sends you a text and like, hey, can you help me out? And you kind of leave them on red, whatever. Someone calls you, whatever. It's FaceTime. That's eye to eye. That's that kind of shit. And I also got, it's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Poetry. It rhymes. They're asking, help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Yep.
Just like the daughter who he's going to go save now does, years later. So I thought that was a cool little.
And another thing about that, like Luke and Leia not remembering Obi-Wan is going to be an interesting thing to juggle in this show. An interesting dynamic to like, how do you balance that?
Yeah,
it's a fine line.
And again, like they're basically at the age where you can convince me they like forget down the road, especially if he kind of plays. He's not just maybe he's wearing hoods or he's doing something to do that, but.
Do they have some kind of Jedi mind trick?
I was just going to say that.
Memory wiped. Man in Black trick.
But they have the Force. Oh god, we're already getting way ahead of ourselves here. All I know is the Organa fucking playbook. There's the meme of the series so far. The leaking water coming out, and then he just slaps. Call Obi-Wan to fix. Like Obi-Wan is to fix all the Organas. It's like shit. Like flat tire of the fucking speeder here. What do we do? Call Obi-Wan. He's fucking
Obi-Wan
half a
Kenobi.
Galaxy away.
Your only hope. He's like, call AAA.
Call AAA, dickhead.
When then the reveal at the end of the episode is that this is all a trap to get Obi-Wan kidnapping Princess Leia. They realize, oh, you know, he fought alongside her father. Reva has set this up and hired Flea and his scumbag friends to kidnap Leia, who did a poor job of catching her in the woods. There was that one scene where she just crawls under a branch and some doofus just walks right into the branch like, oh, didn't see that there. It's just like, oh no. But luckily that was a quick scene. And some people were like, that ruined the show for me. It did not ruin the show for me. I thought this was a very good episode considering like taking that out.
It definitely, it's, you know what it is? We were talking about this on the dog walk a couple weeks ago. Eating my pistachios, having a good time. Like the last pistachio I ate, though, was one of those dead pistachios. And it just is just sitting in my mouth. I'm like, man, that was a good snacking session. And now all I taste is that dead fucking pistachio. So I will say, like, if this ruins the entire series for you, I'm sorry. It's a tough way to live life if that's the case. Let's just all admit that was a fucking just like, I'm hoping Disney's going to learn from mistakes like this and the car scene from Boba Fett. Like, if you guys are watching that, you think that's good enough to be in Star Wars, you're fucking wrong. It's just not. That was a tough look. And I'm very happy we're on the same page with that.
Definitely. Now we're gonna throw it over to episode 2, I suppose. Now, episode 2 will come out on this YouTube channel first thing tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Maybe even sooner. If you want it sooner, I'll upload it at 7 a.m. How about that? 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
How many thumbs up do we have to get on this for you to really? I don't know what the thumbs up
to
are.
Release it tonight?
To release it an extra hour earlier tomorrow.
I'd release it tonight if we got 250 thumbs up on the video.
All right, you guys it's up to you guys now to make that happen.
So it's either 7 a.m. tomorrow morning or when we hit 250. How about that?
And we're going to be recording this. I have to watch it, and then when me and Bob are going to link up, we're going to
hop right back on here. Yeah. All right. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. I hope you enjoyed this and tune back in tomorrow to hear us recap episode 2. Should we give a hashtag?
First of all, I want in the YouTube comments, we're going to say, give us your one big prediction for this season. If I don't know, it's gonna be one. Is it a series or a season? Or is it just gonna be
so
one
far?
Season,
they've said series, but Ewan says he's open to coming back, and there is that 9 years now in between this show and A New Hope. That if you wanted to do a sequel, you could.
So this season, no matter what, tell us your one. Kind of like Bob Fox said, you know that young Jedi is going to grow up. You know, so. Give us your theory. And what was my theory again? Darth Qui-Gon. That's right. That's an easy one. That'll cash. And that's plus 15,000 at the Barstool Sportsbook right now. But it could hit. So let us know your prediction. Hashtag Darth Qui-Gon. Fuck it.
I like that.
Dark
All right. Hashtag Darth Qui-Gon. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. We'll see you tomorrow.